All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of AI-powered text-to-SQL solutions.
Text-to-SQL
Yes.
is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I think for anybody who's working with data, and I think that's most of us in some way, shape, or form these days,
For sure.
these tools are just becoming more and more important and prevalent.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking about 4 open-source text-to-SQL solutions.
Okay.
And those are going to be Vanna.AI,
Right?
MindsDB, WrenAI,
Okay.
and DB-GPT.
Got it.
So a really interesting mix of tools here.
Yeah. A good variety.
Yeah. So we're going to jump into each one of those.
Okay.
And really try to give our listeners a good understanding of the strengths and weaknesses and ideal use cases for each one.
Sounds good.
So let's start with Vanna.AI.
Okay.
This one seems to be really focused on making data visualization easy,
Yeah.
which I think is a huge plus.
Hmm?
I mean, everybody loves a good chart.
And charts are great.
But in some of the testing that was done on Vanna.AI, it seemed like it had some trouble
Ooh.
with even some basic SQL tasks.
Interesting.
So I'm curious to hear from you what was going on there.
Yeah. So Vanna.AI, it's really prioritizing user friendliness, but it seems like in some cases that came at the cost of accuracy.
Okay.
So the analysis we're looking at here shows Vanna.AI sometimes generating syntax errors in its queries.
Oh, wow.
And it also had some issues reliably identifying the right tables within a database.
Okay, so that's a problem.
Yeah, so you can imagine like trying to ask a simple question
Right.
and getting back this jumbled, nonsensical answer.
Yeah, that would be very frustrating.
Pretty frustrating, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a deal breaker for Vanna.AI?
I think it depends on your needs.
Okay.
The good news is that since it's open source,
Right.
developers can go in and they can tweak it
Okay.
and try to address some of these limitations.
So it has potential.
It does have potential.
Yeah.
But for now, I think if your use cases are on the simpler side, Vanna.AI might be worth looking at.
Okay.
But for anything complex,
Right.
you might run into some roadblocks.
All right, so maybe Vanna.AI needs to go back to school for a little bit.
Yeah, it means to brush up on its SQL skills.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit.
All right, so let's move on to MindsDB.
Okay.
Now this one, MindsDB seems to be the go-to tool if you're looking to incorporate machine learning
Yeah,
into your queries.
that's right.
I mean, who doesn't want to add a little bit of predictive power
For sure.
to their data analysis?
Yeah, you're right. MindsDB's real strength is in its machine learning models.
Okay.
It lets you pull not just raw data from your database, but also get those predictive insights.
Okay.
Things like forecasting future sales or identifying potential risks.
So it's giving you that next level of
Right.
information.
Mm-hmm.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful.
But I mean, there's got to be a trade-off somewhere. Sure.
One thing to keep in mind with MindsDB is that it doesn't have any visualization features built in.
Okay.
So you're getting all this great data and predictions, but you're going to need a separate tool to turn that into something visually compelling,
Okay.
especially if you're presenting to stakeholders or something.
So it's kind of like the person behind the scenes.
Yeah, think of it as like a powerhouse in the background, but
Yeah.
not necessarily the star of the show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so MindsDB, very smart,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe needs a little help with the presentation skills.
Exactly.
All right, let's move on to WrenAI now.
Okay.
This one seems to be all about security.
Uh-huh.
So for those of us who handle sensitive data,
Yeah.
WrenAI really stands out. It's like Fort Knox
That's a great analogy.
for your database, right?
Yeah. WrenAI has security as a top priority.
Okay.
And what makes it stand out is its architecture
Okay.
that prioritizes data protection.
So what are we talking about here specifically?
So we're talking controlled AI operations,
Mm-hmm.
strict access controls,
Okay.
and encryption
Encryption is always good.
at multiple levels.
Okay, so it's really built to keep your data safe.
Yeah, from prying eyes.
Okay, so it takes security seriously.
It does.
But does that heavy-duty protection come at a cost?
There is a trade-off,
Okay.
and it comes down to speed and flexibility.
Okay.
So think of it this way.
Okay.
WrenAI's security is like a bank vault.
Right.
Super secure.
Uh-huh.
But it takes time to open
Right.
and to get to what's inside.
So simple queries might take a little longer?
Yeah, they might take a bit longer to process.
Oh.
And the platform itself can be a little bit complex
Okay.
to customize.
All right, so speed demons might want to look elsewhere.
If speed is your top priority,
Right.
it might not be the best fit.
But for those who value security
Yeah.
above all else,
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a really good option.
It's a solid choice.
Yeah. Okay, so last up we have DB-GPT, and this one's generating a lot of buzz.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
It feels like they're really trying to push the boundaries of what Text-to-SQL can do.
Yeah, DB-GPT is definitely an innovator.
Okay.
They've introduced some interesting features,
Like what?
like an AI workflow language.
Okay.
So it's basically a way to program AI tasks
Okay.
using something closer to plain English,
Interesting.
which could really simplify things,
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
especially for complex AI operations.
Yeah.
They also have this multi-agent architecture,
Okay.
which is kind of like having a team of specialized AI bots
Uh-huh.
all working together to tackle different aspects of a database interaction.
So very ambitious.
It is ambitious,
Yeah.
but there is a reason why they call it experimental.
Experimental.
Yeah,
That word always makes me a little
I
nervous.
understand.
What are we talking about here when we say experimental?
So for one thing, the documentation for DB-GPT
Okay.
isn't as comprehensive as it could be.
So that makes it hard to get started.
It can be a bit tricky to get started,
Okay.
and the performance can be a bit inconsistent.
All right.
Sometimes it's brilliant,
Right.
and sometimes it's still figuring things out.
Okay.
Plus, there's this knowledge graph feature, which
Yeah.
is fascinating,
Okay.
but it's currently limited to
Yeah.
a very specific Chinese graph database.
Oh, so it has limited applications right now.
Yeah, so its practical applications are limited
Okay.
for a lot of users.
So DB-GPT, lots of potential,
Yeah,
but maybe not quite ready for prime time.
it needs a bit more development
Yeah.
before it's ready for widespread use.
Okay, so we've got these 4 very different tools here,
We do.
each with their own quirks and strengths and weaknesses. Are we starting to see any patterns here
Yeah,
or overarching challenges in the Text-to-SQL space as a whole?
definitely.
What are we seeing?
One of the biggest challenges right now is the lack of robust
Okay.
multi-database support
Across all these solutions.
across all of them.
Okay.
In a lot of organizations,
Right.
data is spread across multiple databases.
Right.
And being able to query across those seamlessly
Yeah.
is really crucial.
Got to be a fundamental feature.
It should be.
Yeah.
But a lot of these tools, they struggle
Okay.
with that level of complexity.
So it's kind of like having a translator that only speaks one language.
Exactly.
Not that useful in a global world.
Not very useful.
Yeah.
And then there's that constant tension between security
Right.
and performance.
Yep. We saw that with WrenAI.
Yeah, WrenAI's focus on security
Right.
is a great example. They went above and beyond to protect data,
Yep.
but that can sometimes lead to slower query processing times.
Right. So it's a balancing act.
It's a delicate balance
Yeah.
that developers are constantly
Trying to figure out.
trying to optimize.
Yeah. So it sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all solution yet.
Not yet.
It really depends on what you're trying to achieve with your data.
You got it.
Okay, so each tool has its sweet spot.
Yeah.
Vanna.AI is great for visualizations,
Mm-hmm.
but might struggle with those complex queries.
Yeah.
MindsDB excels at the machine learning integration,
Yes.
but it lacks those visual presentation tools.
That's right.
WrenAI, the security champion,
Uh-huh.
but can be a bit slower
Yeah,
and less flexible.
it can be.
And then DB-GPT,
Yeah.
full of potential,
Lots of potential.
but needs a bit more time in the oven
Exactly. It needs more development.
before it's ready for everyone to use.
Mm-hmm.
But what's so fascinating is that all of this is constantly evolving.
It is.
AI is a fast-moving field,
Rapidly.
and we can expect to see these tools become even more powerful
I think so.
and versatile in the years to come.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm feeling a lot more informed about the Text-to-SQL world,
Good.
and I'm sure our listeners are too.
I hope so.
So let's take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll dig a little deeper into the potential future of Text-to-SQL
Sounds good.
and what breakthroughs could really revolutionize the way we work with data.
I'm excited.
Me too. This is really cool stuff.
It is.
All right, we'll be right back.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
It's really cool stuff.
it is.
Okay, so we've got a good lay of the land
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to the current players in the Text-to-SQL game.
Yeah.
But where do we go from here?
Right.
What are the breakthroughs
Yeah.
that we could see in the future that could really take this technology to the next level?
Well, I think one area where we're going to see major advancements
Okay.
is in AI models that can truly understand the nuances of human language
Okay.
and database structures.
Okay.
Imagine a Text-to-SQL tool that can accurately interpret complex multi-part questions.
Oh.
even if they contain like ambiguity or
Yeah,
colloquialisms.
like we use every day.
Yeah, like you'd use in a regular conversation.
So instead of having to like really think about how to structure my question perfectly, I could just talk to my database like I would talk to a person.
Exactly. That's the dream.
That's the dream, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's not even just about understanding the language. It's about being able to navigate all the complexities of different database platforms.
Yeah, we have so many different types of databases these days.
We do, and that's one of the biggest limitations right now.
Right, that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
That kind of universal translator problem.
That's exactly.
So for Text-to-SQL to be truly powerful, it needs to be able to work across all of them.
It needs to query across multiple databases,
Right.
no matter what the underlying structure is.
And that's going to require some serious AI.
Yeah, it requires a level of sophistication
Yeah.
we're just starting to see.
Yeah, it's exciting though.
It is.
Okay, so AI that can understand us
Yeah?
and AI that can understand our data, no matter how messy or complex it gets.
Yeah.
What about the security side of things?
All right.
It seems like there's always this tension between making data accessible
Yeah.
and keeping it safe.
That's a great point. And as these tools become more powerful
Right.
and handle more sensitive data, security becomes even more crucial.
For sure.
So I think we're going to see more advancements in privacy-preserving AI techniques.
It's like
differential privacy or federated learning.
So explain those to me like I'm 5.
Okay, so these are techniques where AI models can actually be trained on data
Okay.
without actually accessing the raw data itself.
So they're getting the insights.
Yeah, they're learning from the patterns.
Without actually seeing
exposed.
the individual data point.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
It is pretty cool.
So it seems like we're talking about a future where Text-to-SQL isn't just a tool for analysts and data scientists.
Yeah,
It's something that everyone can use.
I think so.
I could see this being integrated into everyday applications, like our phones. Think about it, right? You could ask your phone, hey, what was my average spending on groceries last month?
Right.
And it just pulls that information from your bank statement.
Exactly.
Or asking your car, what's the most fuel-efficient route to my destination?
And it analyzes the traffic patterns.
Right, the real-time traffic data.
Yeah.
And it tells you the best way to go.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
It is pretty mind-blowing to think about
Yeah.
the possibilities.
We're not quite there yet, but it's coming.
We're getting there.
So for somebody who is listening to this right now
Yeah.
and is thinking about maybe implementing a Text-to-SQL solution, what are some practical considerations?
Yeah, I think the key is to carefully evaluate your needs
Okay.
and your priorities.
Okay.
What are the types of questions that you're going to be asking? How important is security to you?
Right.
Do you need those visualization capabilities? And how comfortable are you with a tool that's still under development?
Right, because some of these are pretty experimental.
Exactly.
So once you have a good understanding of what you need, then you can start narrowing it down.
Exactly. And choosing the right tool
Right.
that aligns with your goals.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So it sounds like the Text-to-SQL landscape is a bit like the Wild West right now.
A little bit. Yeah.
Like lots of potential, some risks, but a whole lot of innovation.
Yeah. It's an exciting space to be in.
Yeah, it is.
Sure.
Any final thoughts for our listeners who are ready to saddle up?
Yeah. Remember that AI
Yeah.
is a rapidly evolving field.
It's moving so fast.
What seems impossible today might be commonplace tomorrow.
That's so true.
So stay curious,
Yes.
keep exploring, and don't be afraid to experiment.
That's good advice.
The future of data interaction is being written right now.
It is.
And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be the one
You could be the one.
to discover the next breakthrough.
That's a great way to put it. This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
I'm feeling much more informed about the Text-to-SQL landscape,
Good.
the potential,
Yeah.
the challenges.
It's a fascinating space.
I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
I hope so.
It's been a pleasure diving into this with you.
Likewise, I always love exploring these cutting-edge topics.
They are very cool.
They are.
And before we wrap up,
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Scopic
Absolute.
for providing the fantastic research that
Yeah.
made this deep dive possible.
Their analysis was really insightful.
It was great.
Yeah.
And to you, our listener,
Yes.
we hope this episode has sparked your curiosity about the power of AI
Yeah.
and its potential to transform how we work with data.
Absolutely.
Until next time, keep exploring,
Keep exploring.
keep asking questions,
Yes.
and keep diving deep.
Dive deep.
Yeah. It really is amazing to think about how much the way we interact with data has already changed.
It really is.
And it seems like we're just getting started.
I think so too.
Yeah.
It's very early days.
It feels like we're moving towards a future where data is no longer this hidden, intimidating thing,
Right.
but something that everyone can understand and use.
Yeah, I think that's the exciting part.
Yeah.
It's about democratizing data
Right.
and analysis.
Yeah.
With these AI-powered tools, anyone can be a data explorer.
Yeah.
Whether you're a business analyst trying to spot trends,
Mm-hmm.
a scientist looking through research results,
Uh-huh.
or just someone who wants to better understand their personal finances,
Yeah.
Text-to-SQL can be a really powerful tool.
Absolutely. So to recap our exploration of the Text2SQL landscape, we looked at 4 open source solutions.
Right.
Vanna.AI,
Mm-hmm.
MindsDB,
Uh-huh.
WrenAI,
Yep.
and DB-GPT,
That's right.
each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, if we think back to what we were discussing earlier,
Right.
the key takeaway is that there's no one-size-fits-all solution yet. You need to consider things like the complexity of your queries, the importance of security, and your comfort level with these experimental tools.
Some of them are more experimental than others.
Exactly.
But regardless of which tool you choose,
Yeah.
it's clear that AI is changing the game for data accessibility
I think so.
and analysis.
Yeah, we're seeing these incredible advancements all the time.
All the time, yeah. And it feels like it's accelerating.
It does feel like it's speeding up.
And it's only a matter of time before these tools become even more powerful
Right.
and versatile.
More integrated into our everyday lives.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think the potential is really limitless.
It is.
As AI continues to evolve,
Mm-hmm.
who knows what kind of questions we'll be able to ask,
Yeah.
what kind of insights we'll be able to unlock from our data.
That's what's so exciting about it.
It's a fascinating time to be following this field.
It really is. So a huge thank you again to Scopic for providing the research
Yes, thank you to Scopic.
that made this deep dive possible.
Their work is really valuable.
And to you, our listener, we hope this episode has given you a glimpse into the exciting world of Text-to-SQL.
Yes, and the power of AI to transform how we interact with data.
Absolutely. Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep on exploring.